can authorities actually force you to evacuate? The short answer is, it depends. I know that's a classic lawyer answer, right? But stick with me here, because it's critical to understand the nuances. It's your friendly neighborhood Australian solicitor and New York attorney LawBlender with another video to help you navigate the legal maze. Today we're going into a hot topic that's been burning up my inbox. Can authorities force you to leave your home during a natural emergency? Right, let's get one thing straight off the bat. When it comes to natural disasters like bushfires, floods, or wildfires, the rules can be as unpredictable as the emergencies themselves. I'm not going to tell you what to do. It will depend on your personal circumstances. But I just want you to stay safe and legally protected. Don't worry, I'm here to help you understand your rights and legal responsibilities. The issue is, can authorities actually force you to evacuate? The short answer is, it depends. I know that's a classic lawyer answer, right? But stick with me here, because it's critical to understand the nuances. In Australia, there's different legislation for every place. The State Emergency Services Act 1989 authorizes the power to order evacuations and even use reasonable force to remove people from danger zones. That's right, they can actually pick you up and carry you out even if you don't want to. In the USA, it's a bit of a different story. Evacuation powers are at the state level and vary widely from state to state. Some states like Florida allow the governor to order mandatory evacuations if there is a declared state of emergency. But in other places like Texas, forced removals are explicitly prohibited. It's like a legal patchwork. But here's the kicker. While authorities can order evacuations, physically forcing someone to leave appears to be rare and is usually used as a last resort in both countries. You'll probably be strongly encouraged to leave. And if you do try and enter or re-enter an emergency area, you could easily be turned away. So the next question is, what is the legal basis for these evacuation orders? It all comes down to if the government has a duty to protect public safety. In Australia, this is often grounded in emergency management acts. For example, in Victoria, their act states that the primary objective is to reduce the likelihood and consequences of emergencies on the community, the environment, and the economy. In America, it's based on something generally called a police power, which allows states to take actions necessary to protect public health and safety. But don't worry, this doesn't mean the police can do whatever they want. These powers have limits, and they must be exercised reasonably. Let's jump to this next part because it's critical. What happens if you ignore an evacuation order? Well, in Australia, there are severe consequences that you could be charged with. We're talking fines and even imprisonment. In Queensland, ignoring an evacuation order can result in a fine of up to 100 penalty units or 1 year's imprisonment. In the USA, the consequences are often less severe, but in some states there are significant penalties for avoiding. In the USA, the consequences most often are less severe. In some states, there are penalties for ignoring evacuation orders. However, enforcement appears to be rare. But here's the thing. If you stay behind, you might be denied emergency services and could even be held liable for rescue costs. So you've got to ask yourself, is it really worth the risk? Now let's look at some real-life examples. During the 2019 to 2020 Australian bushfire season, there were several instances of mass evacuations, and some were rumoured to be forced. In Victoria, many people had to be evacuated by sea after a bushfire when roads became impassable, a very dangerous activity for everyone involved. Over in the United States, Hurricane Katrina in 2005 led to some serious controversy over forced or attempted forced evacuations. While many people left voluntarily, some refused, leading to dangerous rescue operations and tragically loss of life. So what's the bottom line here? Both Australia and the USA have the power to order evacuations. The extent of these powers and enforcement vary. Australian laws generally provide for stronger enforcement, while in the US, you can often have prioritized individual choice. But here's the thing, when facing a natural disaster, the safest course of action is usually to heed evacuation warnings. Your life and the lives of the emergency services responders may depend on it. Remember, while it feels personal, it's not just about you. It's about the brave men and women who might have to risk their lives to save you if you stay behind. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but LawBlender, what about my properties, my memories, my life? Trust me, I get it. The thought of leaving everything behind is terrifying. Remember, most things can be replaced. Lives can't. So if you're facing an evacuation order, here's some quick tips. Stay informed. Keep an eye on official channels for updates. Know your plan. Know where you'll go and what you'll take and how you'll get out. including having hard copy maps on hand. 3. Prepare an emergency kit. Include essentials like water, non-perishable food, and medications. Don't wait till the last minute. If an evacuation seems likely, leave early to avoid traffic and chaos. Remember, authorities don't issue these orders lightly. They're trying to keep you safe. So there you have it. Next time you hear about an evacuation order, you'll know what it's about and what you need to do. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more legal advice that doesn't require a law degree to understand. Now, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I read all of them and do my best to answer. Stay safe out there, and remember, when nature calls the shots, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. Until next time, this is LawBlender signing off.